Hey there, Job 32 Elihu. Just doing a night drive, so you may not see my face, but I'm going to focus on driving while I'm talking to you here. Look, I've just seen a burst of new articles about schools having new cases, new fear-mongering. Look, your children are the next targets, right, for this. We know that, look, if you shut down the opportunity for your body to build immunity naturally by taking away, foreign pathogens' opportunity to get into the body. Look, we don't want people to get sick, right? But you need exposure to viruses, bacteria, different things in order to build your immune system, right? And if you don't do that, you're basically withholding your body from exposure to them. Now, I use the analogy of when the white man came over and exposed all of their pathogens to the Native Americans. This wasn't just like one virus or one disease that wiped out the Indians. This was probably a mass of numerous viruses. And I'm not a virologist. I'm not a biologist. I hated biology in school, but look, I've studied this over years. I've got a bachelor's degree. I've got a theology degree. I've got a biblical perspective on things. I'm not stupid. I'm not ignorant. I'm not uneducated. But what I do is think critically. And I listen to all those news. I listen to my governor. I listen to the mainstream. I listen to alternative views. If I don't have both views, I can't make up my own mind as far as what the critical thought process is of the truth, right? Who's in the driver's seat? Guess what? I am, as far as my life is concerned. Maybe some people would say Jesus is, or maybe their doctor is. I'm not trying to tell you how to run your life, but what I am telling you is, think about this for a second. I want to use that analogy of the Native Americans being exposed to numerous pathogens at the same time. When you have a wave on the ocean crest, it's not because there was just one wave that decided to crest at a supernatural high, peak. It's because numerous waves coming from foreign directions came together at one point, and when you have waves, it's simple math. You add their numerical height of their peaks and their troughs. When their peaks are added together, that's going to be your peak wave. Okay, so if you got two waves coming together, so you got two boats driving, crisscross paths, your crests and your troughs are going to be doubled once they hit each other, right? Well, I think the same thing true, it's just my theory, but think about it. The same thing is true with viruses and pathogens. When your body is hit with multiple viruses, multiple pathogens at the same time, you're going to get sicker than if you were just hit with one at a time. And so when you put on a mask where you sterilize your environment so clean that you are not exposing your body to any more pathogens for, say, a year, 15 months, whatever it may be, and you don't know what your body's been exposed to. You can do immunity tests, I guess, and test to see what you're immune to. But when you take away your body's opportunity to continually be exposed to things one at a time, when multiple pathogens hit, you're going to be sicker than you would if you just had one thing at a time. When I was a kid, I had chicken pox. I actually had chicken pox twice, and I don't know what the reasoning for that was. I'm not a virologist, like I said, but I actually had it twice. My brothers had mumps when they were little. I had never had mumps. Why did I have chickenpox twice? I can make up theories. Maybe they were different strains. Maybe my body's immune system was just weak. that second time and got hit with it again. I don't know. But what I do know is you give your body what it needs to fight those viruses. I believe God is giving you the immunity you need to fight. We do know what the Bible says in Matthew 24, in Revelation, especially Revelation 16, Revelation 18, 19, there's going to be plagues. Those angels are going to blow those trumpets. Those angels are going to pour out their bowls of judgment. Those angels are going to pour out those bowls of plagues, those vials of plagues. And there's going to be plague on the earth. In fact, I think in one part in chapter 16, if I remember right, it says there's going to be 7 plagues. 7 plagues. Is this one of those plagues? I don't know. You need to get in your Bible. You can't just be scared. You can't just cry when things don't go your way. I've had people do that on me here recently. They get emotional, they get in their emotions, and they're upset because what I'm saying or what they're hearing isn't lining up with the Bible. So they're having a hard time grasping what's going on, and so they have an emotional response to just reject it all. Well, let's not just reject it all. Let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater, as they say. But let's dig in to the Bible, because that is our authority if you're a Christian, and see what it has to say. Read what Jesus has to say. Read some of the prophets and what they have to say about things that have not come to pass yet. Why did God give them pictures of the future, if not but to warn us? God always tells us through the prophets what He's going to do before He does it. And in fact, in a place it says God will do nothing without telling us. So you have every right to believe that God is going to warn us. God has been warning us. And there will be a time where God's warning is over and the judgment's time is just going to be here, and people are going to be swept away with it. In the end times, there will be mass death. Is this that time? I don't know. I think a lot of the numbers that have been counted in the death numbers have been comorbidities. So remember that. Some of these deaths are part of the natural death cycle every year. Is that you'll have to look for yourself to see if that number has actually changed from the norm. I've heard both sides, and sometimes the truth is hard to get at, but you gotta figure it out. One thing that I don't think people understand: there are those that seek power, positions of power, that are not sane, right? In fact, you might wonder if those that seek power are sane. I just passed a police officer, probably pulled over. Dang. The thing is, you have to figure out for yourself if this person in power does have your best interest in mind or not. If they do not, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to just follow their orders blindly? Because the Bible does say in one part to obey your authority. What if your authority over you is insane, right? What if your authority is unjust? What if your authority causes you, asks you to get the mark of the beast? Are you going to obey that authority? Right? There is a limit. You don't just follow blindly every authority. Not every authority is there for you to obey, right? That's not our godly duty, just to follow and obey every order that's given to you. Now, like I was saying, you need to understand that there are people in power that I'm not saying everybody in power is insane, but there may be some people in power that are drawn to power that are insane. Now, there are those that have better ways of hiding it. And there are those that, just because of their authority, we overlook it. Like we look at their choices and their statements, and their thirst for power and authority. Just it's not rooted in their desire for everybody to be well and free, but it's a sick thing, and you can see this in people, right? Okay, so go back to that Native American, the disaster that was the conflict between the Europeans and the Native Americans. When they engaged, there was pathogens that the Europeans had been circulating and probably had evolved because of their close interaction, poor hygiene habits, whether it's not washing their hands or not keeping distance, not just poor hygiene. And I'm not saying the Indians, Native Americans, had good hygiene. I don't know their hygiene practices, but it would seem that whatever pathogens were among the Native Americans stayed among the Native Americans until they met the Europeans. The European pathogens stayed among the Europeans until they came in contact with the Native Americans. When they collided, there was death on both sides. I mean, there was death on the ship of the Pilgrims when they came over to the New World. There was death on the shore when the Pilgrims came, in fact, to the very site they landed at Plymouth, or near Plymouth. The tribe that was there previously, Squanto's very tribe, was all killed out by a disease the prior season. And so when they got there, that's how they found all the food stores that were there abandoned, was because Squanto's tribe was literally dead from disease. And that's a pretty amazing thing, just from the idea that they could have landed anywhere. They had a huge storm that blew them off course. They were trying to go much further south. Anywhere else, they would have probably landed in occupied territory where there wasn't food that was abandoned. But anyway, they landed where they landed, and there was food available to them. That was at the cost of a lot of people's lives, and that's sad, but they were provided for as well. They were trusting God to provide for them. So instead of taking from somebody else that was alive, they had food available to them that was essentially not going to be used, and they could use that. Anyway, there's a lot more to that story, but the pathogens that interacted, I believe, crested and peaked so much so that when you have multiple pathogens at the same time, it's going to cause you to be sicker, more deadly than ever before. So if you get, say you get sick with the chickenpox, the flu, and a cold virus, or some other strange pathogen at the same time, you're going to be extremely sick, more sick than you would on your own, right? Way more sick than if you just had one of those diseases. So think about that when we're covering up our mouth, when we're abandoning interaction with society, and we're not being exposed to the cold anymore. I mean, I would love to get rid of the common cold. If we could annihilate the common cold through whatever kind of practices we can, that would be a huge gain. I would love to do that. I think it'd be great. But at what cost, right? I've been hearing stories lately from individuals who have taken an alternative treatment than to let me just tell you my story, because it doesn't matter what I've heard. When I had COVID, here's my story. When I had COVID, I went to the doctor, and I was extremely sick with COVID for 10, 14 days. I made a telemedicine video with my doctor. Actually, my doctor was not available, so they gave me the nurse practitioner. I wanted to see the doctor. The nurse practitioner said the only thing they could do for me is monitor. She took my symptoms and whatnot. She said, get a pulse ox, which I ordered online for $10 or whatever, and monitor your your oxygen levels. If it gets down below 90%, then take yourself to the hospital. I asked for anything that they could give me, prophylactically or otherwise, to help me get over this. She said, there is nothing we can give you. You just have to get over it. She did say that I could take things for the symptoms, like Mucinex, which gave me hallucinations. She said you could take nasal spray, cough medicine, over-the-counter type stuff. Flonase, what's Flonase going to do for COVID? I think that's just as bad as, some people think that alternative treatments are bad. Well, how bad is it to give somebody who's got COVID Flonase and Mucinex? For crying out loud, that is not going to keep them from getting sick. Okay, so there's my little rant on that. I was pissed. Or maybe here's my rant's about to begin. I was so mad after getting off that telecall, that virtual doctor visit, because they couldn't give me anything to really alleviate this disease. And I'm hearing about other people who had COVID at the same time as me being given things, and they got over it in a matter of days. 2-3 days, they were done with COVID. How is that possible? And I trust them. These are people I trust. Said they got over it in 3 days or less with other treatments that the doctor told me was not available. I later went and saw my actual doctor and asked her about this. She's like, yeah, that's what we do. That's all we can do. So I confirmed it with the doctor that was the normal procedure, and this is the norm. Across the board, what I'm hearing is that this is from the highest levels. This is, whether it's the CDC or NIH, this is their recommendation for people with COVID. So don't tell me it's just my doctor's opinion. This is from the top down, and my doctor was trying to tell me, nobody's telling me what to do, nobody's telling me how to treat you. Yes, they are. So let me tell you something. If she had given me something else, she would have been criticized. Somebody would have criticized her, put it out there, and she would have had some sort of penalty, I'm sure. We all know, doctors, that you get kickbacks from your vaccine manufacturers. Trials, prescriptions you make, you get a certain amount of vaccines on your list, you get a kickback. So don't even play like you don't. And that's going to be the next thing I ask my doctor when I see her on a follow-up visit here for something other than COVID. I'm going to ask her, how much you get paid from Pfizer? How much you get paid from Moderna? How much you get paid from Johnson & Johnson? What is your kickback? If you want to be fully upfront with your clients, you need to make sure that they know where your allegiance lies. Don't lie to your customers. If your doctor's sponsored by a pharmaceutical, you ought to question. You ought to question their allegiances. I'm really looking for a new doctor. So if you know of a good doctor that's taking new patients and is graceful and will see you how you want to be treated and will allow you to dictate, I'm the customer, but I'm also the boss. I will fire a doctor if they don't agree with me. And it is important that you fire a doctor if you don't agree with their treatment process. They say to get a second opinion for a reason, right? Because not all doctors are not infallible. listen to them, let them explain to you. And they've got a tough job. You know, they've got a lot of patients to see. And what I'm seeing in the news is that medical hospitals are being overrun, and they're supposedly being bankrupted because of all these nurses quitting. I don't understand how nurses quitting causes hospitals to go bankrupt. But if you can't see patients, if you're shutting down your entire hospital to treat one thing, COVID or other, you're losing your income stream, right? And I don't know how long hospitals can continue to run without a steady stream of income. I mean, that's a very expensive organization, a medical facility, to run if you are not seeing patients for a month, for 6 months, for a year. You know, that's a very dangerous position to put yourself in. Anyway, here's my question to you. I'm not telling you medical advice, but if the masks work, you know, why do you need the vaccine? If the vaccine works, why do I need the mask? If your mask works, why do I need a mask? You know what I'm saying? I just want you to think critically about these things. And sure, you know, the whole time I wore a mask last year, I will say, I didn't have allergies. That was like the first time in a long time that my allergies did not act up. That was amazing to me. That was one benefit that I will never forget. My allergies literally went away. So, there's a benefit. Allergens, you know, pollen is a pretty big, I don't want to say molecule, but it's a seed, right? It's like a pollen is pollen. It's not a seed, but it's a seed for a seed, right? It's the male form of the plant that is impregnating a flower receptor, right? Okay, so if the mask can reduce pollen from getting in my mask, that's one thing. It's a huge particle in the air, right? And I also installed huge filters in my house that get the pollen out, so that's a double dose I'm doing there. Change out your filters at home, you know, change out your filters on your furnace. It does help. You know, we don't want particles and things in our house that can carry pathogens. So you want to filter those out of the air. But a virus is way smaller than a piece of pollen. And anyway, lots of cool stuff out there. You know, on my page we've got products, pure air products. You go to my webpage and support this channel, job32elihu.greentechdirect.com. You can go to the store and buy some pure air products. Look, those products kill 99.99%. They've been proven to kill viruses, bacteria, other pathogens, and to get pollen out of the air too, through ionization. This is what the airlines are doing, and they're doing it so well that people in Congress are arguing, people in the press conferences with the president's secretary are asking, why do they need masks on plane? Because they have such a good filtration system. Well, this is a similar kind of filtration system that I'm got on my store here. So, look, whatever your opinion is on it, buy something for your family, buy something for a loved one that will provide protection in your home, in your car. You know, say you're an Uber driver, you can get one of these little gadgets that'll sit in your car, and you can even get one that's personal and put it on your neck. You know, wear it around, wear it to the store with you. It looks like a little pager. Anyway, job32elihu.greentechdirect.com is the store website. Buy one, buy two, buy 5. Get these before they're sold out. They will not be there forever. Support this channel. Share this message with your friends. I know you can't see my face, but this is an important message I think y'all need to hear. Viruses are not just the only thing to be scared of. Remember, there's other things out there too. Fentanyl is killing way more people than COVID. Think about that. No one's talking about fentanyl. Fentanyl, you get a little tiny microgram of that in your system, and I don't know how much a microgram is or how much it takes to kill you, but it takes a very, very small amount, and you can die. Imagine that in our water system. Imagine that sprayed in the air by a terrorist. I don't know. I'm not trying to give anybody ideas, but how do you guard yourself against that? We need filtration systems. We need to take ownership of our cleanness, of our air, of our water, and don't just leave it in the hands of some public officials or some paid employees to do it on our behalf. Check out the store, like, share, and look up some other content. Share with me what you're listening to, what you're seeing out there. Keep our eyes and ears to the ground. Thanks. God bless.